Welcome back to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern, and it's good to be back. So, Jamie and I are back tonight, and I got a lot of stuff to get through, the whole stack of stuff I got to get through tonight. A lot of great topics to address, and we're titling this episode Stupid Ideas or Stupid Homesteading Ideas. And so I think you're going to get a kick out of what we're going to show you tonight. So stay tuned. Be sure to stay tuned and tell all your friends on Facebook right now that the show is live and we are on the air. All right, so let's see. What do we do this week?
I told you last week. You always ask me that every week.
I want people to what are we doing? What are we doing around the homestead? There's always so many things we do, and we forget about all of the chores that we've had to do or whatever topics have come up, and people like to hear about them. So we got the sorghum juicer unboxed. Me and Tim did that. We did a video on it. Put that up on YouTube, and we have. Let's see, what else? We're going to have, I actually tasted the first of my sugarcane this week out in the garden. And so that was kind of cool. And I cut down a small stalk. And today I even had some of the kids try it, and they liked it. Although it's not as sweet as it will be come October, but it was still pretty good. We got the stainless steel for the counters. I saw that your dad got that.
Yeah, that'll be really nice.
Yeah, so he's going to install that, I think, in the next couple days.
Yeah.
That's going to be it's going to look really good.
Yeah, I haven't even really, I've used the fire pit and I've used, the evaporator for canning and stuff, but next year I'll be able to do all my prep work outside too, which will be really nice because I'll be able to keep my mess out there.
Yeah, and it's just so much cooler out there because you do get a pretty good breeze that comes through most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And so it just makes working outside so much better when you have a roof and some shade over you and a nice, kitchen area to work with. And so the outdoor kitchen is coming along. We'll do a final walkthrough. Jamie will do a final walkthrough on the outdoor kitchen probably in a few weeks once the cabinets are done. I'm not sure how much longer those are going to dry. We cut some cedar wood on the sawmill that's drying right now. It's stickered up and drying. So hopefully that won't be too much longer before Tim can start making cabinets out of that. We're getting the garden ready for winter. It's just time. I'm getting ready to add new Eden layers. And so it's just, getting ready to put on all the new layers of leaves and wood chips and straw and manures, all that stuff that we've saved. We're going to put all that back on and get ready to do that soon because the garden is just about done. And I want to get ready for next season as soon as possible because it's just less work I have to do later. And so getting ready to do that. Tomorrow, getting up early, working on the sawmill. We got some logs out there on the deck we need to cut, and a bunch of white oaks. My neighbors are cutting a bunch of white oak right now. They're bringing lots of wood over, and they need about 80 4x4s to build floor joist for a cabin, a very large pole barn type cabin they're building, and I'm basically sawing all the lumber for that. So I'm going to be doing about 80 4x4s. I have done a number of them already. They just need a lot more. And then after about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to start putting the trusses up on the sawmill. So that's something we're working on here, shortly. Anyway, let's see what else we got going on. Working on the sawmill. Ham radio. I got a new ham radio antenna in the mail this week, and I'm going to be ordering a drill bit here soon. Going to be cutting a hole in the top of my Chevy Silverado. I'm going to be putting an antenna, a professionally installed antenna, in the top of the roof of the truck, so I can have my ham radio hooked up. And I'm very glad to find. I had the last vehicle I had that installed in my vehicle. I liked listening to it, and I liked every once in a while communicating with other hams in the area. And it's just amazing, the kind of distance you can get when you're on top of this mountain out here. And so I can't wait to get that installed. So we'll probably do a video on getting that installed and all the different parts that I'm getting ready to install for that hand radio. It's a V8000 ICOM, and so that's coming up. poison ivy and tincture. I got poison ivy. I didn't get poison ivy, but I went out and did yard work. And around here, yard work never ends. And so I went out and I was trimming. And whenever I trim, Jamie, for that amount of time, never lets me in the house because I'm just covered in grass and whatever clippings of whatever I've been trimming.
Yeah, it gets everywhere.
So I come back in and I have to either take off my clothes out there on the deck or whatever because when I'm trimming, there's lots of poison ivy around our mountain, and so poison ivy is everywhere. So every time I go out and I trim or whatever, poison ivy gets on me. It's just I am highly allergic to poison ivy. But this time, folks, instead about noon, I came in from doing a morning's worth of trimming. Covered from head to foot, all in my beard, grass clippings, much of it, I'm sure, being poison ivy leaves, and opened up the tincture, the poison ivy tincture that we made for a video a few weeks back, and took a half a shot of the poison ivy jewelweed tincture. And lo and behold, I only have just a few tiny spots, just the tiny, tiny spots on my arm from that. And my arms are covered when I come in. And there's just a few tiny spots of reaction, poison ivy reaction from out there cutting. And I'm amazed. And that was a half a shot.
Well, you also did shower, but you shower and it doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help me when I shower. Showers is just, the poison ivy laughs at you when you shower. But, this tincture works, folks. If you're interested and you need a way to treat poison ivy, you got to get this jewelweed tincture. Go back, look in our archives. I just published it up on YouTube a few weeks ago. It's called How to Beat Poison Ivy Fast, and I'm telling you, it works. Absolutely works. And so, highly recommend that. Anyway, let's see, what else? There was... just want to go and give a shout out to the Homestead Network. Thanks so much for having us on, and was let in. I enjoyed the shows out there by Big Bear and Living on a Dime and Deep South before we tuned in here. And so thanks, guys, for leading us in, and great shows all around. If you're interested in more great homesteads, folks, you can go to the homesteadnetwork.com and go to their show times. You'll find all kinds of great homesteads and their YouTube channels listed there for almost every day of the week. And you can tune in and see what some of these homesteads are doing on YouTube. And so there's no excuse. I always tell people there's no excuse. You guys can get into any topic of homesteading with all the homesteads out there nowadays that have their own YouTube channels and blogs, so many of them. And the Homestead Network is a great place to go. So go to thehomesteadnetwork.com, check it out. Lots of great homestead channels you can check out there and see what they're all up to. Anyway, now we got that out of the way. Stupid homesteading ideas. Now, I'm about to put some pictures on the screen for all you guys out there. And Jamie has not yet seen these pictures, so I want to get her some of her reactions. I saw something every once in a while, I see something on the internet that's just so stupid. And I can't help sharing it with you all or anybody who will listen. Some things that people do or have an idea about, and a lot of them are on these homestead. I share a lot of memes on an American homestead. I share a lot of homestead videos, things that I find, and people really enjoy those. However, some of these homesteading and survivalist or prepper Facebook pages share stuff that is just so dumb, and I get it. And it's because they're sitting in suburbia America with every convenience of modern day America, and they have never tried anything. They've never tried to go out and plant their own food. They've never tried to harvest water, save rainwater. They just know nothing. And so they see this idea that comes across their feed and like, oh, this is the greatest idea ever. This is so neat. I'm going to share this to my feed. And for those of us who actually do homestead, we live off grid or we grow our own food and we deal with our animals and we just all the stuff that it entails. This is just dumb. So here, I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to bring it up real quick. This is it. And I showed Joshua, my oldest.
Yeah, he's been talking about it all week, actually.
And so I showed this to him, and he thought it was neat, but I had to explain to him just how stupid this was. So here it is. This is called, I forgot what it's called. It's some sort of homestead, on the ocean. And it's a way for you to have a home, an affordable home on the ocean that is self-sustaining, and you can live there. You can live there. And it shows people in the picture, riding a bike around a track around the home, and it's got a lawn out there, and it's got a little boat for a vehicle, because it's just regular everyday living, but now you're on the ocean. And so I'm like, what in the world? And so I'm watching this video, and it's going, image by image, and explaining how wonderful of an idea this is, and how it's so self-sustainable, and how it makes its own energy. Here's the next image. It shows you have a lawn. And it says that you could grow, in the video, it says you could grow a garden and basically grow your own food on this. And I'm like, what? How in the world? Was it?
That's what we said. Oh, look, it's Waterworld. Somebody says it's Waterworld.
It's Waterworld. I know. It's like water. So, because hey, listen, Waterworld, if you didn't know, is like one of the top prepper movies of all time.
Yeah, except I'm not going to drink my own pee.
I know.
I mean, it's like, I can never get that out of my head. I mean, that is forever imprinted in my brain.
How my pigs will float. So... But Waterworld is, though. It's like one of these iconic prepper movies where people are like, oh, it's a post-apocalyptic prepper movie. Yeah. And so people are like, well, we could live in the ocean with our and do everything. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So Deep South Homestead, if you guys are on here, you guys are talking about your garden and doing your back to Eden, putting the leaves on and whatever, all this stuff. So everyone knows, if you're a gardener, and if you garden for any length of time, you understand that to make soil work and to make soil grow things, you have to continually add to the soil, because every time you harvest, you're taking all of that nutrients out of the soil, and you have to put it back somehow. And so my question is, how do you do that with this? How do you do that?
Plus, there's no way that little amount of supposedly ground is going to grow enough food to be self-sustaining.
It's like AstroTurf. Well, it's not even, it can't be dirt, because the way they put this thing together in the video, this is flat. It's like a flying saucer. So these round parts are all flat. So where does the dirt go?
So here's what I told Joshua. I didn't tell Zach this, but what I told Joshua earlier is that I really truly believe that we are created. The Father put us in the environment that we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to float around on the ocean. That's not our environment. We were created to be on the ground and grow our food. And there's just, I told him, okay, so what happens when there's a big storm and this thing runs into a rock or something that I can't see and pulls? When you're talking about self-sustaining, you're saying that I never need anyone else ever.
It's impossible.
And no man is an island. Literally. So this is saying now every man can be his own island. There's a million and one scenarios that you can think of. You fall from that little laddery thing, and what happens to you? You're immobile. You can't reach your radio. What are you going to do? No one's going to come and check on you. There's a million and one things.
Pirates. People laugh, but pirates really is a thing on the ocean, even today. There are pirates out there today. And I'm not just talking about the ones off the coast of Africa. I'm talking about, there are pirates.
This person has a valid point. The spray would put salt everywhere and nothing would grow.
Yeah, that's totally true. See, the person who came up with this idea has never even grown a tomato, much less, a garden. So, but that's just crazy. There's so many reasons why this is so wrong. But see, people were online, I'm not kidding you, posting this as a good, viable alternative homesteading idea. Apple, right? Apple computers, think different. Homestead different. And this could be a good alternative way for us to homestead, on this floating UFO bobber looking thing. All right. So, but you want to know what really got me going? She hasn't seen this picture yet. So I'm going to bring up a new picture on the screen, everyone. And I just want you to see if you can pick out And I'm going to cover the chat room so Jamie can't see it until she sees it. Doesn't know until she sees
Oh
it.
gosh, no.
So, wait.
Put them in the spot because there's a quiz.
So check this out. Wait. Tell me what's wrong with this photo.
It's purple.
Well, it's just a different shade of whatever. But tell me what's wrong with that. What?
Unidentified floating object is a concept for an unsinkable houseboat.
Yeah, so they call it an unsinkable houseboat. But we'll look at the photo. What's in the photo that just can't be right?
It has a mailbox.
It has a mailbox. I just saw that. And I just like, oh, this is so good. So how would you like to be the mail carrier on that route? And how does he even know where you are? Because you're floating around. You're floating around the ocean. What's your address today? I mean, you don't have an address. You have a whatever your latitude longitude is for the day. I just can't help it. I mean, folks, this has got to be the stupidest homestead idea I think I've ever heard or seen of in my life. So, yeah, the mailbox. Who is going to be delivering you mail out in the middle of the ocean?
Someone says, the dolphins bring you your mail.
The dolphins bring your mail.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. All right. So, anyway, I saw that. I was having a little bit of fun. And but people were serious. And it goes to show you, there are a lot of...
Zach, I mean, people look at that and they think, okay, it's being self-sustaining. That's what they want. And then... being away from the craziness of everything, it's for me, okay. Oh, I know what comes to mind too when I see this. Oh, wasn't there a scene in a James Bond movie where they float away in this capsule? Maybe somebody knows.
Right.
When I was a kid, okay, I'm an introvert. And really, some days it is a stretch to do videos for everybody. Zach is the one that makes me do it. And so I do it. And honestly, I do it for him because I love him. And, we've found a way to make a living, which is really amazing from where we live. So I do the videos, but I'm an introvert. And when I remember seeing that James Bond movie and they're floating away out in the ocean, and I'm thinking, gosh, that's awesome. I would love to float away by myself. Honestly, a lot of days I still want to float away by myself, but only because I don't get alone time. This is the perfect alone time.
Okay, you're talking about a vacation here. You're not talking about a homestead. I mean, right? It's a vacation. It's not a homestead. So... But check this out. Look at this.
But it has, what I'm saying is, from Russia with Love, that's it?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, so cool. Thank you. Okay, but what I'm saying is people fall in love with the romantic notion of homesteading, self-sustaining. So they see a picture like this, and it's that romantic notion.
All right, but my point being was that we've seen a lot of these dumb ideas.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's why... people get all excited about these things because they have this romantic notion.
But they've never tried them. They never actually put things into practice.
I know.
Yeah, that's just, it's like, you got to try some of these things or have lived, in these alternative lifestyles of homesteading, off-grid or on-grid, doesn't matter, to realize that some of these are just so stupid. All right, so this picture that's up right now, it's the solar panels for this. And judging just based by the size of this floating, whatever you want to call it, that's not enough solar to do almost anything. I mean, that's enough maybe to have a TV on, maybe some radio communications. You're not going to be heating your water with that. You're not going to be, heating your house with that. You're not going to be, there's so many things you're not going to be able to, heating elements take up so much energy. There's no way that little amount of solar panels is going to do much for you. And it says that you need it says you have a built-in desalinator and water purifier. One of the things it talks about is water catchment. But see, even then, I'm like, there's just no way you're going to be able to do anything with these solar panels that, when it comes to heating elements or cooking. I mean, how are you going to cook your food? How are you going to cook your fish?
In a solar oven.
Where's that at on this thing?
I don't know.
Well,
I guess you'd have to bring your own.
Anyway, so the UFO would rely on solar power. So the next image was this one, and it's a woman, looks like a woman, I guess, taking a hot shower, but there's no way that's enough solar power to heat that shower. not only that, it would collect rainwater or desalinate seawater. A desalinator, number one, folks, takes energy. You have to have good energy. That would be enough, you could probably power that with that solar panel. But a hot shower, a water heater, no way. Absolutely not. Not only that, but it says it would collect rainwater. We have the ability on our homestead to collect around 3,000 gallons of water. We have the storage capacity for about 3,000 gallons. And we're getting ready to put in another 1,500-gallon tank here in just a short amount of time. Folks, I've seen the 3,000-gallon tanks. The 3,000-gallon water tanks are about the size of this pod, if you look at it in comparison. So let's just go back through the images. I mean, that's about the size of a 3,000-gallon water tank. I don't know. I've stood next to them. But that center portion of the pod is about a 3,000-gallon water tank. So I don't know what they're collecting rainwater on. Again, I just think it's some of these ideas, like you said, maybe the romanticized idea of homesteading, that people like the idea of getting away, but have no thought process on how to actually do it or how this concept's going to work.
Yeah.
And supposedly there are people who are seriously developing this. I would love to be on their engineering team and be like, well, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that?
Well,
one says,
I think, it's, I always go back to this lady that I worked with, 15 years ago now, something like that. And she was a vegan, and she honestly thought, that there was no more land on this planet. Like, she really, really honestly thought that. Like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even change her mind. She was so into this idea that there was no land left. So when someone has always and only ever been in the city and they've never been out to the middle of the, what am I trying to say, Zach? She just couldn't imagine that there's land. So, somebody like that sees this and thinks, oh, I can get away. There's places to go. There's the ocean. There's always the ocean.
There's room there.
We don't have to go to Mars because we still have the ocean.
I think we just take a bunch of the idiots that's out there in the world and we put them on these things and send them out. Here you go. Have fun.
Yeah.
So how do you decide who the idiots are? They probably put us on these boats.
Somebody said in the chat room, this is kind of an aside to this topic, but somebody had said that the best homesteaders are introverts. That's kind of an aside to this, but I think that she's right. I really think that in order to homestead and do it well, like, you have to commit to staying on your homestead and doing the work necessary, because honestly, you don't have time to go and have lunch with your girlfriends. So I don't know. Sometimes I look around at different people and I wonder how they get anything done, because they're gone
all the time.
They're always gone. So I think for men, they have, I just think for a woman, it's better, to be a little on the introverted side. And because honestly,
I was just reading a comment. I'm sorry, I was just reading a comment. Big Bear said, remove all the warning labels off everything, and whoever ends up in the ER wins a free ocean homestead.
Gosh. Okay, Zach.
That's pretty good. Okay.
Anyway, that was my point. I don't know who said that, but I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I have a girlfriend who is really kind of scared of jumping in to homesteading full force, just because she doesn't like the idea of not having people around.
Yeah, and I've often wondered that too, and I think you're right, because I'm not an introvert at all by any means, but folks, you can't leave your homestead and expect to get stuff done. And I know people who've been homesteading for years, and their homestead looks like crap. They don't get anything done. They don't even have a chicken coop, or just built a chicken coop. They haven't done anything. And I'm like, well, that's why, because you're always out doing so much other stuff, and you're not applying yourself. And people ask us all the time. Me and Tim were just talking about it this week. We're we have really done a lot on this homestead. And so many people have come to us and say, wow, how do you do it all? And we're just like, we do a little bit every day, a little bit every day. And it adds up. It adds up quickly. But you got to do a little bit every day. It's that few days where you do this and you do that, and maybe you work maybe once a week, and the rest of your week is spent, off lollygagging somewhere else, doing whatever, and you're not doing anything, and nothing ever gets done. So, I mean, it's not possible here when we are really, relying on most of our food from our garden and supporting our homestead with cash crops like the sorghum and trying to establish a business here. I can't establish a business here and make it work if I'm off doing other things. So as much as I love hanging out on Facebook and seeing all the nutty stuff you guys post, I just don't have the time. So anyway, so what do you think? We're going to go do some oceanfront homesteading?
I think that gets a big thumbs down.
What? Oh, the big thumbs down for the ocean homestead?
I mean, that's pretty much the consensus of everybody, right?
And, yeah, I think so. It's just, I saw that online this week, and I'm like, this is just too good. And it's the image with the mailbox. I was like, what in the world? Some engineer, some computer graphic guy put that, and was like, oh, I just got to find something to put this here to make it look normal. I'm like, a mailbox, really? I don't know.
They needed some kind of landscaping. They thought a mailbox would work.
I still want to know how they're going to get the grass to grow. I don't get that. All right. Anyway, on to our next topic. Let's see. What do I have here? Because I want to get over to the chat room here at some point. Building homes for homesteading. So there's a lot of things. This kind of leads me to this topic. Because you see the whole idea of going out in the Pacific or going out in the ocean with these stupid bobbers. But there are a lot of people, like there's a guy who lives not far from us who built an adobe house. And did we talk about this before? I don't know if we did.
I don't know.
I don't know, but
so. He
built an adobe house and it's crumbling. And I've met a lot of people who are like, oh, I just want to build an adobe house or what's it called? A hardened clay.
It's
What's that called?
Like the kind that they make in Mexico and New Mexico.
Yeah, they build these hardened clay. Somebody in the chat room will post it up. I don't know what it's called. But they basically take clay and they harden it off and they make a house out of it. And the problem is where most of the Native Americans who built those types of houses lived was in the desert, like in Arizona, New Mexico, Cobb. That's it, Cobb. And so, yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, guys. Cobb houses. So this guy built a Cobb house down the road. And where this is normally built is in the American Southwest, Mexico, places like that. Dude, you built it in like one of the most humid parts of the Midwest, the Ozarks. It's crumbling. It's just not going to work out. It's not going to have it. It's not going to work.
They've got the whole thing tarped and... It just looks horrible.
It's horrible. I mean, when they first built it, it was great. I mean, it worked for a number of years, he said. And after that, it started to crumble. It would leak here, it'd leak there. It just, it rained. We get 52 inches average of rain per year in the Ozarks. 52 inches. That's like I think it's the third or fourth highest most in the U.S., beaten only by Florida, Hawaii, and a couple other places. We get a lot of rain here. I mean, there's been times, I'm not kidding you, we got 5 inches of rain in one rainstorm. It's nuts. And it's high humidity. Those Cobb houses, don't work. And I know there's some people like, but Zach, you didn't do it like this, you didn't do it like that. Okay, great. You go ahead and try. There's a reason why stick houses, folks. And around here, the pioneers built, and there's clay. There's been clay here for, eons, right? But there's a reason why people around here, the homesteaders, the pioneers, have built wood homes, and because they last. And so it's like you got to build for your area. And if you want to go against the grain, you better be sure. You better be sure, folks, that what you're building is going to last. This guy was sure, too, when he built his Cobb house. He had done all the research, blah, blah, blah. And the humidity and rain over the years just made it crumble. And it's really sad looking because they got tarps all over it. And they're trying to, I don't know, who knows. And they're too poor to build anything else. They have no money. And so they're like, what are we going to do? They don't know what they're going to do. So anyway.
Yeah, it's so horrible. Like, I feel, no one wants to see their labor.
I know, you spend that much
you spent
kind of
all
work.
of that time.
Yeah, it's very painful. So, nothing's safe. I mean, folks, you can build a stone foundation and build a concrete, castle, and one earthquake comes by and it's gone. So, nothing is going to last forever. However, it's just, over time, there's some things that are guaranteed to fail based on where you live. So that I call him the Adobe guy. That's what I've just come to know him as. And we drive by his place every so often. Anyway, so that brings us to this idea. And this next idea, I don't think was stupid at all. And so I put a link in the description below. Folks, you can go to the link. It's called inhabitat.com. And it says this amazing Bangladeshi air cooler is made from plastic bottles and uses no electricity. And so it basically has this concept. So have you ever gone up to a window and breathed on the window and you see the window cover up in steam and you can write in it? Okay. Well,
it's condensation.
Right. So when you breathe that way in your hand, you can feel the heat. But then blow on your hand with a closed mouth. It's cool. And so what someone came up with was to take a whole bunch of Coke bottles, put them in line, and condense the nozzles. So when you have wind that blows up on the side of a house, or when a breeze blows up on the side of the house, it comes through, it condenses the air, and makes it cool. And it works. And so the link I posted in the description below that all of you have access to if you're listening to this podcast will take you to a YouTube video, and some descriptions on how to build this. And people are building this inside of their homes in different parts of Bangladesh. It's like catching on, and it actually works. They say it actually does reduce the temperature by about 10 degrees inside the home. And so I know 10 degrees can be a lot. I mean, when it's 90 degrees in here, having it go down to 80 is something. And so these people have a temperature a lot of times in their tin houses. They have tin, like corrugated sheet metal.
Yeah,
it's like 100, 105. And so putting that on their one side of the wall, it actually was lowering the temperature.
How many do you need, though? Do you just need enough to fill one window?
The YouTube video that I posted in that link, it shows just one of these, like the guy with the one he's holding there, installed inside this tin corrugated wall. And because the air is condensed as it blows, it becomes cool.
Yeah.
And reduces the temperature.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought so. See, I mean, there are ideas people come up with that aren't stupid.
We say all the time, because it gets hot. We say all the time, oh, whew, that's a nice breeze, as we wipe the sweat off of our faces while we're working. But hey, I mean, this gives a new definition to that, nice breeze.
Yeah. What they do is they pop out the caps there. If you can see that, they pop out the caps, the top of the cap of the Coke bottles, and then they push the Coke bottles through the hole and then use the caps as kind of like a way to hold the Coke bottle.
My only issue, I do have one issue.
You don't like Coke?
Well, yeah, I don't like Coke, but
you're a Pepsi gal.
No, gosh, I don't even drink soda. Can you think of what my one issue is?
You don't. It's unsightly.
Yeah, it's ugly.
It's Coke bottles.
It's ugly.
If you're in Bangladesh and you're living in a tin hut.
Yeah, but for me, it's ugly. And I like to see the view.
Well, there wasn't a window there to begin with.
Oh, okay.
They just cut out these pieces of tin in their walls.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. It's a slum in India. There's no view. There is no view. I want to see the great landscape of the slum.
Stop. Oh my goodness.
I know, I can't help myself. All right, but yeah, I'll put the link in the description below. You can check it out and see what you think there. I think it's a great video. I really was impressed by it. Not sure I would be able to apply it in any way on our homestead, but maybe you could. And I don't know, but it does seem to work, and it's getting into rave reviews with that. So let's see, what else do I have here in the stack of stuff? Permies.com. Let's see, was that it? Was that for that? Okay, so Permies.com. I check Permies every so often, and I have an account there. I don't post very often. I just lurk and see what other people are talking about. And but I enjoy getting their emails. I enjoy looking at the forums every so often. And there was an issue, or there was something posted up about urban myth wood chips nitrogen, where they were basically. I've had this happen to me. So Deep South was talking about this earlier too, where people say you can't put wood chips on your garden; it'll rob your garden of nitrogen, and it's totally untrue. What will happen, the one way that I have observed will rob your garden of nitrogen. There was a YouTube guy out there a couple years ago. I think he stopped making videos about a year ago. His name is MHP Gardener, and he's like, oh, I'll try this whole Back to Eden garden. So what he did is he put a bunch of wood chips on his garden, and then he tilled the wood chips into the ground. And that's a big no-no. Obviously he didn't watch the video about the Back to Eden method very well, because it says that over and over again. Do not till your wood chips into your garden, into the dirt, because it'll rob the nitrogen. It won't rob the nitrogen. What it actually does is just tie the nitrogen up so that it can decompose the carbon. So, and he's like, and then he did it on part of his garden, and then one part of the garden he didn't put the wood chips on. And so the part of the garden he put it on, he tilled it in, and then came back and looked at his corn. He's grown corn and says, look, see, this Back to Eden thing doesn't work, because look at my corn. It's barely, a few inches tall, and my garden, in this part of the garden, the corn is 3 or 4 feet tall. And his thing was like, well, see, that proves Back to Eden gardening doesn't work. And everyone made comments in this video, said, no, dummy, you're not supposed to till in the wood chips. So this whole link, and I included it in the links to the description below. You can look at this too, this Permies.com. Great forum, by the way. You should go and register. They have a lot of great conversations there. And so I just lurk and see. I don't have time to go back and forth, but, it gives good ideas. So they're arguing about whether or not this works or not. And folks, it does work. We're on our 3rd year of Back to Eden. My garden, the soil is so fertile. It grows everything like crazy, and I would never do anything else. And, it's just carbon, nitrogen, putting all kinds of manures on there, wood chips, leaves, grass clippings, straw, hay, everything.
Didn't I hear you one time call it the lasagna method?
Yeah, the Back to Eden garden method mostly is just wood chips. But even in the Back to Eden method, they say you can put other things besides wood chips. Well, that's really getting into the definition of lasagna layering and lasagna gardening. And I say we do both, because we do. We just put layers and layers of stuff right on top of each other, and it works. I mean,
But you used hay this year, right?
We used straw, so wheat straw.
Oh.
Yeah, they had taken the seed out of all of it, so there was hardly any wheat straw in it, and or hardly any wheat in it. And so we just unrolled it over the whole garden. It worked out great. Kept the weeds down a little bit, but by the end of the season, I don't really care about weeding anymore, so I'm just harvesting. I don't even go through the weeds anymore. But this year again, I'm getting ready to layer again everything down, all the manures. I'm going to try to relay out some things this year again, and put down some cardboard. I found a great way to get cardboard in town for free, tons of it, as much as I want. And so I'm going to bring a bunch of cardboard home, and I'm going to redo some layering on that, because I want to start in the garden wine cap mushrooms in the garden this year. And because we really like having our own mushrooms that we can get. We love mushrooms, and the wine caps are really easy to grow, but you got to start them out. It really helps if you start them out with cardboard, and you can put them in your garden right next to your tomatoes or anywhere else, and they'll just grow naturally. And at the same time, it really helps grow your plants. It really, the fungus and the mycelium really travel to help feed those root nodules of your plants, your tomatoes and your cabbages and everything else that comes into contact with. It's just an amazing system to grow a better garden. And so we're going to grow wine cap mushrooms. They're one of the easiest mushrooms you can grow with very little effort. And so that's what we're going to do this year. So we're getting ready to do that. I'm getting ready to layer the stuff down, but I thought you guys would really enjoy the wood chips and nitrogen article, and I've linked it in the description below. Last but not least, before we get to the chat room. So I saw this. This was big on social media this week, and it's spread from Springdale. 89 mumps cases are now tallied in the area. So somebody mentioned this back, I think, over at one of the other channels that were doing their YouTube video, and the mumps has arrived in northwest Arkansas. And they expect it to get worse before it gets better. So this is from Arkansas Online. Arkansas. Or some people around here, they call it Ozarkansas. The number of confirmed or suspected mumps cases in northwest Arkansas has grown to 89, encompassing at least 2 more cities, a spokesman for the Arkansas Department of Health said. Health Department spokesman Meg Maryville told the Arkansas Democrat Gazette on Friday afternoon that the outbreak, which was first detected in Springdale, that's kind of our area, has spread to school districts in West Fork and Huntsville, which is definitely our area. At least 2 cases have also been found at New Technology High School in Rogers. It's Thursday afternoon. 76 cases have been reported in the state Thursday. And so, folks, here's the real skinny. Because I live in the area, and people on social media talk, and we live in a small town. I mean, all these areas here are really small towns, for the most part. And a lot of them are connected on social media, on Facebook. The word around the campfire is every single one of these people who have contracted mumps are vaccinated. Every single one of them. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that the word around the social media street is every single one of these people is vaccinated. So why are they getting mumps? So back 100 years ago, and Jamie and I have read books on this, and we've read books and stories to our kids. When someone got the measles, the chickenpox, or the mumps, every parent in town made darn sure that their kids got exposed to that virus. Why? Because to make sure they didn't get it as an adult. Chickenpox and mumps and measles can be deadly for an adult if you get it. And so when the virus comes around, you make sure your kid gets it. Therefore, they are lifetime inoculated against it. And
okay, so if all of these cases of people getting mumps have been vaccinated, well, because Zach has said, we got to find these people. We got to go expose our kids.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was...
But what does that mean for us, you and me? I mean, we've been vaccinated.
Well, yeah. We've been vaccinated.
But we're adults.
Well, that's true. That's scary. But wait. The vaccine is supposed to work, they said.
I think we're talking about the MMR vaccine, which, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody tell me, but I think there's like 4 different ones that you get. I don't even know. Anyway, but our oldest was vaccinated until he was a year old, so he may have been vaccinated. I'm pretty sure he was vaccinated.
Joshua was? Mm-hmm. Okay.
For MMR. I'm pretty sure he had the MMR vaccine.
Yeah, back in the old days, this was something that the parents, whooping cough was another one. Because if you get these as adults, they're way more harmful to you than you can get them as children. And so I know some of you guys out there are pro-vaccine, and that's fine if you want to be pro-vaccine. But the reality is, here's the reality. The people who are getting these diseases are vaccinated. The majority of them. Now, I don't know if all of them are, but the word around the campfire is so far every single one of these in northwest Arkansas that have come down with this has been vaccinated. And I don't know if it's true or not. But I'd rather do it the way they did, 100 years ago in small American towns when someone got it, that you either put somebody up and you quarantine them, or you let all the children get infected so that they would be inoculated from that disease for the rest of their lives, because your body from that point on is going to make antibodies to fight that off. Chickenpox is the same way. Measles is the same way. So. And there's lots of kids who have gotten the mumps as children back in the day, and that's exactly what the town did. They made sure everyone was exposed to it as a child. Anyway, that's the news around Northwest Arkansas right now and the Ozarks is the mumps outbreak. And, my thing is be like, hey, who are these people? Where are they at? Because I'd like to get my youngest over there. Anyway, instead of going, because, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So anyway, that's the news. We're bringing it to you. Don't hate us because we don't vaccinate our kids. All right, we're back in the chat room. If you have a question, please put it in all caps, and we will see it, and then we will try to get to it. We got about 15 minutes left to the show. We all just need to kiss more cows, Peoria Do said. Yeah, we need to kiss more cows. In the old days, they thought the seizures were from the devil. Well, so. You are supposed to get a booster shot, aren't you? I don't know about booster shots. Have you guys thought about keeping bees? Yes. In fact, we have a giveaway coming up soon for some beehives, and it's going to be great. The beehives are going to be coming probably in the next few weeks, and then we're going to be giving them away. We're going to be running a contest for both our patrons and our regular audience on giving these beehives away. And then we're going to sell these beehives on our website, an American Homestead Beehives. I think it's going to be nice. And the only thing is, I don't know if we're going to get into bees right away. It's just something else that we would have to do, and I don't want to put another chore on my plate. Plus, our neighbor does bees, and if I'm going to, from what I understand, bees, there's only a certain amount of food for a beehive, for a certain amount of bees that live in an area. And we have wild bees that live in the forest already, plus my neighbor has 3 colonies, and I don't want to take away food from his colonies. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. We may eventually get into bees ourselves, but if we get the sorghum to do good, and I think I'm going to start expanding our sugarcane production, now that I know sugarcane will grow here, I think that's going to cover most of our sugar needs that we have. Do you make homemade dish soap?
I tried that once. I didn't really like the result. I haven't tried it since. When I made it, it was in the wintertime, and the soap, I sit it on the windowsill because the windowsill is right above the sink, and it got so hard I couldn't even get it out. It like solidified completely. In the summertime, it was actually pretty liquid. So I don't know. I may try it again, but no.
There's still things of soap down there in the grass where we first moved on the property.
That was probably my laundry soap.
Yeah.
That's still down there?
Still down in the grass. Yeah. Somebody said, how's the bee box or the bat box doing? I saw my first bat the other day, and it wasn't near the bat box. It was a little ways away from it. And I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I've heard it can take a year for it to get, bats in it. I don't know. We'll check. I haven't checked it lately. I haven't gone by and checked it lately, but I haven't seen any bats in it yet.
Did you try using a grater for that solidified soap? Yeah, I did. I melted it. I chopped it up. I melted it down. I added more water. I kept adding more water and more water so that I could actually dispense it. And I just felt like I had to add so much to my dishwater to even feel like I had any soap in it. Someone have a really good method, then send it to me. But I'm not... I really, I totally want to be able to do that kind of stuff and do it successfully. I make my own laundry soap, and I feel like that's fine.
What is this? Use milk, not in oil? Not oil?
And use milk, not an oil.
You're talking about your laundry stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't see any other questions. Any ham operators out there? Ham radio guys? Yeah, everyone please donate for a new cord on the cane mill. I almost felt bad because, guys, I hate giving bad reviews. I don't like saying bad things about a company if I don't have to, because I mean, they're trying their best to put a good face out there, and really, TuboBiz is really trying their best to put a good face out there and to build up confidence in its customer base. And so I was really disappointed when I saw the cord on that. It was so dirty, and I was just like, what in the world? I don't know if I haven't even plugged it in yet to see if it worked. I guess I should try. But anyway, it was dirty. It just looked like they put everything else in the machine was absolutely clean and pristine, but the cord looked like it had been in use for 25 years somewhere, and they just plugged it in and hooked it up. And so I don't know what's up with that. I did, and speaking of bad reviews, I did a review on another product that I've seen posted all throughout the Homestead community. A company sent us something. I'm not going to spill the beans yet, but a company sent us something that I have seen reviewed all throughout the Homestead community. A lot of you guys would absolutely know who I was talking about if I mentioned the name. And I had I'm not kidding, a horrible experience with it. And I'm going to eventually put a video out. I recorded some of it. I'm going to record some more. But it was a horrible experience. And I have some ways I think I would improve it, to be honest with you. But I hate giving bad reviews because I really want things to succeed for people. But, man, I have to be honest and just tell people what's up. So,
well, because you don't want someone to go and buy something based on your dishonest review. I mean, plus it's dishonest. So we just kind of try to avoid a review if we can.
Grandpa's Farm said, do they have to change it for U.S. power sources? Probably. I mean, different parts of the world, I've lived in different parts of the world, have different outlets. And I think U.S. is basically the only place that uses the one we use. And so maybe they were like, yank that cord off and pull that cord off that old vacuum cleaner in the back and put it on there. I don't know what they did, but they got the crappiest cord they could get and plugged it into the machine. And I was just like, and if you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. It's the unboxing of the modern sorghum press. So check it out. Are you going to add on to the chicken coop? Why? It's already huge. It's big. Does anyone know how to lure a sow out of a wooded area she got out of our pen? I have no idea. What made you choose Arkansas Ozarks over the Missouri Ozarks? Arkansas Ozarks, way, way, way less regulatory issues. I wouldn't say way cost, but way better cost of living than Missouri Ozarks for sure. Lower cost of living on taxes, on just cost of living in general. But regulatory for sure. And, the Ozarks is good on water, so that's why even Missouri Ozarks are good on water. Lots of water in the area. But there's lots of reasons why I like the Arkansas Ozarks, and that's just a couple of them. Let's see. Try a salt lick, one guy says. If you shook a food bucket at the cow and the food bucket did not work, that tells you right there you need to use the food bucket a lot more often. Because the food bucket should be the first thing that makes your animals come running to you. Just throwing that out there. Current thoughts on your aquaponics greenhouse? Oh boy, I don't know. It's kind of on pause right now because I'm rearranging some things in there. But I don't know. We're gonna do some updates on the aquaponics greenhouse. I've had so many issues with growing things in there, and it's not because it doesn't work. It works great. The problem is I got pests, and I can't get the pest out. I have, those wood rats. There's no way I can get the wood rats out unless I'm trapping them all, and I'm trapping them constantly. I got all kinds of different, insect pests, and I can't use any type of even natural chemicals because it'll hurt the fish. There's just lots of issues. And so I'm trying to figure out what I want to grow in there that's going to be the best that I can keep growing in there and be good. Right now I'm thinking about filling up the whole thing with fig trees, believe it or not. I'm filling up the whole thing with fig trees because the fig tree grows great. So anyway, that's about that. why did you guys switch up your chicken breeds? You have to ask Tim that. He's the chicken guy. Send him a message on the website. You can post a link on the website on one of the chicken articles, and he'll respond. He'll see that and respond to it. He's the chicken king around here. Jenny Pendleton channel on YouTube might be a big help to you and Zach for homemade stuff. Okay, I'll look at that. I like, what's that web channel? It's called Woodworking for Mere Mortals. That's a really cool channel. And we're going to incorporate, so once we get the mill finished and we get the pavilion built over the top of it, and then we get the solar kiln built, which is next on the list of things to do. We already have the roofing for that. We're going to be putting in start making a lot of products, wood products for the homestead that we can sell. And I got a bunch of stuff already on tap for that. Put a couple of big cats in there, pest problem solved. Yeah, I tried putting cats in the greenhouse, and all they do is they want to get out. So I don't know what's up with that. Cranberries do well. I never thought about cranberries in aquaponics. I'll look at that. I don't know, but what do I do with cranberries? I don't even like cranberries. Do you like cranberries?
No.
What are you gonna do with cranberries? I mean, if I could sell them, but you can't sell anything to anyone around here that's healthy because everyone wants donuts. It's just the town just wants donuts. They don't want anything healthy. So, let me know what to do with cranberries, and maybe we'll talk. Will you do a class on ham radio? We're gonna do some videos on ham radio. We're gonna start by doing the installation into my truck, so I can start doing that, and then we'll do some classes on CB radio. We'll put that in my truck, and then doing a base station here on the homestead for ham radio. Because I really believe, we had that earthquake that some other people talked about in their channels earlier on in the evening. We have a few minutes left before we get going, and the earthquake really, this is something that you can use to be prepared as having a ham radio. What are you going to do when the grid goes down, cell towers are down, all this stuff's down, and people are like around here, well, how are we going to keep in contact with one another? Oh, we'll get horses. I don't like horses. I don't want a horse. But if I had to get a horse, I'd get a horse. But it'd be a lot easier for us to just, if an earthquake happened, to hook it up to a battery bank and then transmit, however how many miles it is to your place. Because, even with my ham radio, I've been able to reach, I think, Kansas, northern Missouri, Iowa from here. I can get anywhere from here on a ham radio, mostly in the Midwest. But definitely in the metro area, in the northwest Arkansas area, I can basically reach anywhere in the Ozarks from my mountaintop. And so, ham radio is the way to go. And we're going to be doing a lot more ham radio stuff. Folks, if there's a disaster and you're into prepping, if you don't have a ham radio, I'm going to show you just how easy it can be to basically get your ham radio license. So that's coming up. We're gonna have a show. We got videos on that, and that's gonna be something we're gonna be doing. Ham radio and how easy it is to get a license. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Zach always wanted me to get my license, but I figure he has his, so that's fine. I don't really. It's so technical.
It's not that bad, though. It's really, people think it's technical, but it's really not that bad. I have a very easy method. It's proven. I used it to get your ham radio license. We'll talk about it more coming up. Maybe we'll talk about it next week on the next week's show. But if you're interested in doing ham radio, folks, I think the youngest person ever to get their ham radio license is 7 years old. If a 7-year-old can do it, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it too. All right, guys, that's the show for tonight. Really enjoyed you guys all being here. Had a great time with you all. Looking forward to next week. I have all kinds of topics I already want to bring up next week. And we'll see you back on the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We really appreciate your subscriptions and sharing our channel on Facebook and Twitter. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you very much.